Do you remember when you fell in love with basketball? And when you watched your first NBA game? I could never forget. And it's 2025, we're going into 2026, and there's been a lot of discussion when it comes to the NBA and what the game has turned into. And I think the older people got to stop. We need to just shut them down. Let them go to their nursery homes and enjoy retirement. Modern day NBA is amazing. Players are extremely athletic and they're really doing some fun stuff. A 360 dunk is a 360 dunk, whether you see it in 1980 or 2025. Sure, some of the stuff that you see probably was done in different ways or similar, or maybe exactly the same in the NBA, but a lot of times some of this stuff is just amazing to watch for the first time. If you're a younger kid, 15, 25, and you're seeing somebody do something spectacular that you've never seen, you'll be like, oh my goodness, it's Michael Jordan? Nope, I'm young. I'm too young to know who that guy is. Kobe Bryant? Nope, I'm too young to know who that is. Keep going down the line, and there'll be a day where even those names are completely unknown for the younger folks. But we're getting to see really great basketball, fun basketball being played, and some spectacular plays. And as we do that, you're watching some of the most spectacular plays of 2025 in the regular season. And I've been inspired to make a video acknowledging, yes, I am an old head as far as NBA. My favorite is 1990s. You had the Bulls, the Knicks, all the teams just going at it. It was a wild time. And even though I'm a Knicks fan, you know, Michael Jordan made a fan out of me. And so did so many others throughout all these years. And it's been a spectacular time to watch all the 90s, early 2000s, where they had amazing Kobe Bryant and so much more going on as well. And every decade that passes, I think to myself and humbly say, wow, there's some spectacular basketball and storylines that are being played. I realized one thing is that the more you fall in love with the game, you fall in love with the players, and then you see their stories, whether it's their actual professional careers, maybe your favorite player gets traded and then wins a championship with the team he got traded to, or, you know, personal problems that inspire you to want to be better as a human, and they fought through that while trying to be in the NBA. And all these stories are happening every day. And we got to be grateful for that. And we got to take some time to think about how amazing sports is for that very reason. The relatability of the human side. Anybody could take a shot. Who's going to make it? And that's what's happening every day in your real life. Your potential is high. You just got to put in the work, put in the time and effort. And you too can be on one of these highlights in your own way in life. Not everybody can dunk the ball. Don't worry. I'm not talking about actual basketball here. But after all these years of watching these young kids, for example, Victor Wembanyama, I might be watching him for the next 10 years, possibly win a championship or more, just from how gifted he is. But as well as that, he puts in a hell of a amount of effort on defense and offense to play his hardest. And you got a retiring LeBron who basically is defying the odds of time. You know, father time as they call it. And it's just inspiring. Then you see injuries happen to like the Boston Celtics and Indiana in the playoffs. And all of that is devastating. And it's a reality check. This fantasy of basketball and entertainment turns real when those things happen. And you have the inspiring story of Curry just somehow defying all odds and shooting lights out no matter what. It's such a beautiful gift to continue to be inspired with the NBA as the main focus. And again, I've watched 3+ decades of basketball, and I've been inspired every single step of the way. Looking at the Thunder team, for example, here, incredible season. And there's a young team who might have built a dynasty for the future. And the inspiring stories of each individual, something you can look at and use for your personal life. And sometimes you might get rejected. You won't get that job. You won't get that thing that you've been waiting for, but you got to keep trying. Don't give up the effort. Sometimes do a reverse move, change direction, and get the dunk. It's possible, but it's up to you to put in the time and the effort and the work. And when I watch the modern day, as I started this video off kind of joking about the older folks like myself, hearing them dismiss and disrespect the game is not okay. And if that's you, I get it. You have your favorite year, your favorite decade, your favorite players. And if you're like me, you probably dislike the fact that everybody's chucking threes. This is something that you're not interested in. But the truth is, you just prefer to see someone take it to the rack or stop the play in the middle of the air and dunk it just like that. Of course, we all wish we could dunk, right? But the truth is, basketball is more than dunking. And yes, the one big feature is the post game. It's not as prevalent as it used to be. But I love the fact that the game continues to change, and maybe we'll go back to post-up game being the main focus, creating a triangle offense, which was fun to watch with Jordan and with Kobe. And it's proven, and it's still in the NBA. It's just in motion now. I don't want to talk too much basketball here because this video is dedicated to a casual just wanting to hear someone break down the modern day. But motion offense with the triangle within it, something that teams like Golden State would run. Curry off ball and try to get him a play while somebody's posting up and doing this and that. So it's still somewhat in the game. But again, the game has evolved in different ways. And you look at these basketball moves and you might not know who that is as he shoots his shot, but you have to give him credit on a beautiful basketball. It's just the way it works. And sometimes you could just jack up crazy shots and hope it goes in. And that's a real life thing. But I just wanted to kind of stress that the NBA is in a beautiful place and that we have to be grateful for the continuation of this game and the evolution of players' hard work. And we'll continue to get more NBA as we go. But I wanted to take a moment and discuss the undeniable truth about the way, the modern day is covered on social media. There's a lot of scrutiny for players, from analysts trying to get clickbaits, and everybody wants to get some clickbaits on YouTube, all these creators. It's pretty hilarious. But the truth is, I promise you, all your old players had bad or worse tendencies as well as some of the new players, whether it's on the court or off the court things. You take a guy like Kevin Durant, who gets on social media and kind of trolls and replies to everybody, and people try to make that like a bad thing. And I look at that as a big blessing to be able to even have access to one of the greatest scorers of all time. And an apologies, trying to get your attention. But yeah, Kevin Durant happens to be one of the greatest scorers who's willing to get on social media and, go back and forth with you, which that's a good thing. And while the scrutiny and all the extra hoopla is what it is, you're getting access to these players in ways that we never had. And the game would be totally different if we had that 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So, yeah. And I made a video comparing the modern day and the old day. And I explained that if you took old players into today's day and you gave them all the information, all the training, all the knowledge that current players have, some of those players will be superstars. It'll be the greatest thing you've ever seen. Others would suck still. You know what I mean? That's just the way the NBA works. There's some really top tier players and there's some decent players. The funny part is a lot of you guys that are watching assume that the bench warmer is not that good and you'll probably beat him on a one-on-one or he can't really play. The truth is a lot of these bench guys can do amazing stuff. They're not given the opportunity to be on the floor consistently to get the reps. For you to have a go-to shot, you have to practice. I remember I used to take my cousin and train him and say, just do your go-to move. And then after he learned the go-to move, I teach him to do a counter move, just like this that you're seeing here. Even though it got blocked, he went from the pivot back to the hook. And of course, that's Victor Wembanyama. But the point is this is basketball at its finest. And learning these things is fundamental. And a lot of these bench warmers that you guys think are not good, it's actually just the coach not giving them airtime to do what they want. Then you have players who come into the league like Melo, who just do anything he wants. He can shoot any way he wants. Nobody's going to say nothing. He can do his 360 off of one leg jumpers. He can, he's an outrageous player, but I love watching him. And I don't think it's safe, and he might have some turnovers and just play a little reckless sometimes, but he's getting the chance to become a player that you won't be able to handle once he develops fully and matures into the monster that he's going to be. And a lot of these NBA players just need that. That's why you see guys like LeBron, the moment he walked in the door, he was given the keys and they allowed him to be a superstar. He had the ball all game. I think he scored almost 20 in his first game, and basically for his whole career was able to be the main guy, basically the point forward for his whole career. And these type of things are needed. And you see Victor Wembanyama also getting some keys to the car, 7+ feet, dribbling, shooting threes, like being a playmaker. This is the new NBA. And I know some people say, just get down in the paint. And you hear these Charles Barkley's. And I'm not taking shots. I love Charles Barkley and Shaq. It's one of the most fun shows to watch. I grew up watching them. I think I watched them more than almost any other TV show on TV. But that nonsense about every big has to be in the paint at all times, I disagree. Sure, get them in there and take advantage of your matchup. But if you can take out a 7-footer to the 3-point line and let a point guard drive and get an easy bucket, I prefer that than to force it into the paint against another 7-footer who weighs 300 pounds and ask him just to pound on him and hope they pound on him like they pound on Charles Barkley in the hot tub. Only people who watch NBA inside would know what I'm talking about. But that's not something that's necessary. And I'm a guy who loves post game, and I think it's a very amazing way to play. But you're gonna put a lot of wear and tear on the body, and if you can just create a 5-out, give a guard a chance to score in the paint, and it's still a point in the paint, the most highest percentage, but it's changed, and the NBA has changed. And so that's kind of where I stand with all this, guys. I think that the ideas of the past, some of them are very relevant. For example, take a high percentage shot was the mindset. They didn't want you shooting threes. In fact, you would get benched when the 3-point line was created if you're just jacking up a three. Only times you throw a three if there's nothing else left and there's only a couple seconds on the clock, maybe take it. But most of all, the teams will encourage you to drive and get the highest percentage shot you can. Nowadays, it's the opposite. It's shoot a three first. And if you have to, you can take a closer shot. And so you see these basketball moves. These are simple things that you will say, oh, we've been playing basketball before. Yeah, but the little subtle details from top players is undeniable. And y'all got to respect the game. It's a new day, a new time. This is coming from the old head, all right? But I had to kind of just stress that. And another thing when it comes to today's game, what I want to say is, please support your team, man. Stop team hopping. And this is a separate topic, but the reason I bring this up is because it looks like new champions are coming, okay? It's usually the Celtics, Lakers, and some of these other dynasties that came along the way from time to time, like the Spurs. They had their run. There's a couple teams who had their run, but I believe right now, getting a new team in there, it just adds to the fandom that we have, right? How amazing would it be if for the next 10 years, new teams winning championships that never won before? Now, of course, I want my New York Knicks to win. They've already won one years ago, but I'm all for this. Indiana's, Thunders. I think we have to respect that. It's a new day. The markets shouldn't matter, and people have to support their teams. So if you're watching this and you're an old head and you say you love the NBA, back in the day it was better. No, go buy some tickets, go to the games, go pay for the NBA league. I know they make a lot of money, but we want to support all these local teams, whatever team you're into, like the Rockets or so on. Get out there and support them, because all this does is lifts up every team, and then we'll be able to get better basketball and more coverage. All right, stop hating on younger folks. New day, new age, because you don't understand what it's like. I get it. The old days, the coaches didn't want threes. The coaches wanted you in the paint. The big men were big men, staying inside and just body to body, like Charles Barkley likes to do. You know what I mean? But that's not it today. And there's nothing wrong with the big man being able to be versatile. Of course, just jacking up threes ain't worth it. Sometimes, like this guy right here, it'll work out for you. Other times, it's like, hey man, why don't you just post up? And Joker's a great center, by the way, so no shots at him. But the concept is still the same. But yeah, show love to that. If this was a fun video just discussing the NBA today, showcasing some highlights, and you're interested in more of this, feel free to leave a like and a comment and subscribe for more, because I will be doing some good coverage for 2026 year, 2025, 2026, regular season and playoffs. Right? All right, y'all. See y'all on the next one. By the way, I do a lot of 2K coverage, NBA 2K, and we're going to talk about 2K while we do these breakdowns. All right. So check it out. More highlights like this on the next video. See you there. Peace.